You, Justin?
Hey, how's it going?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm doing great. Good to
I
be on.
yeah. Well, welcome. Next invitational. I remember last time when we gave you like 50 questions.
Yeah. I remember. I had to get prepared here for whatever may come my way. But it's good to be back. I came with some plans so I could actually have some things to talk about other than getting bombarded with questions. But I'm down to answer whatever comes up.
That's a dangerous promise to make.
Yeah, well, my answer might be I'm not telling you, but
But he knows his answer is that he's not telling us.
yeah, exactly. I'll respond at least. I won't just go silent. That's rude. But yeah, it's exciting. It's been fun watching the event today, and obviously a lot of things are in flux right now, and it's been really cool to see different decks, and I'm actually really curious to see how everything evolves once all the 3.1 cards come in and more new stuff's coming. And again, I'm already deep into working on set 4 and set 5, and so it's always good to take my head back out and look back at where the environment's at right now. So it's really good.
Yeah, you never really get a time to stop and play the active environment, right? You always got to be in there testing
that
new
is
stuff.
the thing. It's I keep an eye on it, and obviously we're always listening to the audience and reading the forums and and watching these tournaments to keep abreast of where everybody's at. But it's tough. Like I know Kit was saying, oh, why don't we come on and do a stream and play a game? And I'm like, well, I'm really just not prepared to play the current format right now. If you want to play a game with set 4, I'm down, but I don't. I'm not ready to do that on the stream just yet, but I do want to do that more. So I think I'm going to try to set up either just do a separate stream or some future event where we can all play some games, because I like playing Soul Forge. It's really a lot of fun.
All right. Well, the first question in chat, and I think this is the biggest one. Are bees still confirmed for set 4?
I never confirmed bees for set 4. In fact, remember we work. I mentioned before that we work very far ahead in the future, especially when it comes to art requests and getting that stuff done. So it is not something I'm confirming for set 4, but there will be bees at some point. That I will tell you.
Bees confirmed.
Bees confirmed? Question mark.
I still, one of the things that amuses me the most, how much this community has rallied around bees. But I'm here to give you guys what you want, so we will have bees at some point.
Excellent. Just let us know when the art request has been put in.
It's already been put in.
There we go. All right, bees confirmed.
It's happening. I'll tell you that. I don't think we're gonna. I don't think we're gonna get it in time for set 4, but we will have it. This is it. You guys could ask me anything you wanted to ask, and it's bees. That's the number one.
That's it. All right. And we can end the stream. Thanks, Justin, for coming on. Thanks for confirming bees.
It's been fun. We'll see you later.
And that's the tournament.
Yeah. We need a new logo. Bee Watch.
Yeah, so I have some proactive stuff to do here. Obviously, a giveaway is always good times. I did, since I'm the CEO, I can make more difficult giveaways and just make David fulfill them for me.
Nice.
It's a nice privilege. So I did a legendary of choice last time. This time, I think because we just got a bunch of new precons, I'd like to do a giveaway for a precon of your choice.
Cool.
So it can be one of the new 4 ones. It can be one of the ones that's not even on the store anymore. If you can name it, we can do it. I was thinking about doing a trivia one, but it seems like at least there's a few people in the stream that maybe are new to SoulForge, and I want to give everybody access to this. So maybe we'll just do a roll for that.
Okay. Do you have like a special hashtag or something?
Let's go with hashtag bees.
Hashtag bees.
Yes,
you heard
I
it
can.
here first. Hashtag bees it is, everyone.
All right, go, Tom. I'm not sure anybody's going to believe it at first.
I know.
Looks like they're taking you on faith.
they're taking it.
They've learned.
When the channel owner pastes a hashtag, everybody will copy and paste it back.
You have trained them well.
All right. So many bees. Bees everywhere.
That is a lot of bees.
Bzzz.
I hope nobody's allergic.
Oh gosh. So
Make sure you.
anywho,
Yes. I was gonna say, make sure you have your EpiPens ready. There's a
Okay.
lot of bees.
There's a lot of bees.
So I guess the first thing, whatever. I mean, I ask you this every time you get on stream. You should be used to it by now, Cough. But like, what can you tell us more about the future of competitive SoulForge and these tournaments? I know we're taking a brief hiatus, but next year's up in the air. But what do you guys have on your end?
Well,
Anything,
you know,
ready to share?
it's something that we've been working with. Obviously, we love what you guys are doing, and really want to continue to support the Forge Watch events, as well as now obviously we have our World Championship qualifiers that we've been getting a great response to leading up to the World Championships for next year. That cycle is the sort of plans for after that are something we're still working on closely. It's a lot of it depends on, as I mentioned the last time, sort of at what phase we end up getting more and more functionality inside the game client. One of the things I'm actually most excited about is we're finally going to be running our Kickstarter tournament, which we've been waiting to do forever, and that's going to use the kind of phantom constructed. I forget what we ended up deciding to call it. I used to call it God mode. Where you can play with any cards in the game of SoulForge. You don't have to own them. You can play whatever you want. And we're going to all be playing and get to play against them. And then the one thing I don't think we've spoiled is that we're going to be doing another event using the same rule set after that. I think it's a couple of weeks later. We'll publish the date so that everybody can play and have a chance to play with every card in the game of SoulForge, whatever cards you want, and really have a fun time. So I'm pretty excited about that. And I think the other thing is, we've been, as you guys know, we're experimenting a ton with Weekend Warriors and really having a lot of different items for people to play with and be able to try different formats. We're running the Unheroic events this weekend. And one of the great things for the audience here is, if you guys have formats you want to see, with the last patch, one of the things we got was, with the 3.0 patch, we got a lot of functionality to be able to make new constructed formats, which we couldn't even do before. And so whether it's different draft formats or different constructed formats, you guys can really, you do influence. We watch to see how much people play and what you guys want to see. And we can make those formats happen a lot of the time. So you guys who are in chat, you can throw some suggestions in the chat of what you want to see. And if anybody on the stream has ideas too, we're figuring it out as we go, and we're trying a lot of different stuff, and it's a lot of fun to see the new formats and the creativity that comes with that.
So what you're saying is we could get Sparkbot mode?
So what Justin just said is that we are all SoulForge.
We are Forge.
Nanoswarm. That does not sound like the best format. I'm looking at
We do have the Mono Bees format out there already. Yep, Mono Bees.
Mono Bee control. I like it.
Yep. I'd certainly be interested in seeing the all spells format.
That would be wacky. That would be wacky.
I know.
We've been working with there's various points in the file. We've had a card that doesn't. It just changes into a random card from the appropriate level. And so we would just play like fake decks with those, where you're just basically playing a random card every turn. It constantly breaks, so we can't actually release it, but it's super fun when it works. We'll work on getting it fixed someday, so we can actually have that be a format. But it's there's definitely a lot of like fun, creative ways to go about it.
Sounds so fun.
That sounds like an amazing format, actually.
Yeah, it's definitely something we want to make come to life at some point. It's just, it's really funny because it just, sometimes we can get through whole games and it works out okay, but most of the time it's really weird things happen. But a lot of stuff, I've been working on a huge variety of different things for the future of SoulForge. Working on different kinds of scenarios and different kinds of rules changes and things we can use when we actually have campaigns and different things happening, so we can really make the game a lot more engaging, have a lot more single-player content. Unfortunately, it's as I've talked about before, the most painful thing for me, and I know for all of you guys, is just how long everything takes to get done. But it's cool to work on, and it's all coming, and it's every time we do a release, we're getting more new stuff and get closer and closer to the vision of SoulForge that we started with now 2 years ago with the Kickstarter. So it's good times. Speaking of which, I shared with Kit some of the early. The thing I really wanted to talk through was some early SoulForge UI update screens.
I sent them to Tom. Why don't you go put the main screen up first, Tom?
Let's roll off first, since we still have that giveaway to do.
So right.
I'm gonna stall everyone out and just kind of get them almost there, and then say, hey, we have to roll off.
That is so mean.
Race car the tease.
I know. Of all the things, giving away stuff. How dare I? Vangelizker. I'm going to go ahead and throw that up on screen, and then I will type it in chat. You have won a pre-constructed deck. Sorry, a pre-constructed deck of your choice, and it doesn't have to be one of the 3.1 ones. It can be any pre-constructed deck that has ever existed in SoulForge. So let me go ahead and type that out.
I'm looking at some of the different format suggestions out here. I really like the backdraft idea. We don't have the technology to do that, but that's pretty funny. I like where you draft a deck, and then your opponent plays the deck you drafted, and you play the deck your opponent drafted. So you just try to draft the worst possible deck you can. It's really entertaining. I like that idea. I hadn't even thought about doing that in SoulForge. So I've done that. I've done a few Magic drafts like that, and they're hilarious. Pre-con constructed was an idea I saw out there. That's actually one we do have, and I've been wanting to do forever. We don't currently have the technology to do that yet, but we're super close to it. And so the idea being that you can only play pre-constructed decks in the event. So it's just like all kind of on a balanced sort of thing, and we can. Let you have one of the reasons I really want to have that format be enacted is for new players it's fantastic, right? Like the ability to just have something where it's like, okay, I can play an event that, like draft, is balanced and it's fair. It doesn't matter what how big my collection is, but unlike draft is a lot less intimidating to just get started in, right? You can know the cards and you can kind of play, and right now a new player just jumping into draft queues is just going to get demolished. So something like that, I think, would be that's something we will make happen at some point for sure. But keep the ideas coming out. I'm reading the chat here for different options.
Cool.
And whenever you're ready to show off.
Yes. Yeah, so do you have a particular one out of the two that you would like to?
Let me preface this. So this is just going to be a wireframe. It's not prettied up. It's just showing you different elements, and I want to talk through it because, again, I want to get people's feedback. There's a lot of stuff that's still in flux, but. I think we've talked about this a ton. That right now the SoulForge UI definitely needs a lot of work, and we've been learning a lot as we go. So let's put up the home screen for PC. This is for PC, and will be very similar on tablet devices.
Okay, let me get this sized right, so that way it shows up well on screen. So there, we almost have it. I'll have the game kind of going in the background there.
And we will we'll put the full-size version. People are going to screen grab this anyways.
Yeah.
We'll put the actual HD versions of them up on Reddit later for you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
in fact, maybe I'll do that while we're chatting here.
We can talking through a couple of elements here. We can you can see at the top we have a header bar which should live on all of the screens, so you can easily access whatever thing you're looking for. We added a count for your tickets along with the silver and gold, because it's just basically another currency, so it's nice to be able to easily know how many of them you have. The nice big updated play button at the top. The big spoiler here that I'm sure people are excited about, this daily quest component, where not only will we have your sort of regular dailies that are always the same, but a couple of ones that change up to give you some new options. And things to be excited about coming back for every day. The thing I'm most excited about is actually being able to communicate news and announcements to people. It's so difficult not to actually, be able to talk directly in client to customers very easily, and so that's something we're very excited about. the messages tab at the bottom is we might rename just to like notifications or something, because it'll be a place where we can store stuff we tell you. Like, one of the things I liked about our recent update was when we got the smaller notification when you get your daily wins or things that doesn't always have that giant pop-up that takes up your whole screen, but sometimes people miss that they got their online win, and so we'll have a little thing that will be like tracking previous stuff that happened to you, so that you can know and not forget about it. Let's see what else is fun to talk about here. I think those are the major components of this screen. Just really having information very, very readily accessible, having things that'll be easy for people to see and.
Did we lose him? So everybody, seems like we might have lost the call. Hopefully we'll get this back here in a second. Worst case scenario, we can always switch over to Google Hangout and keep things going. Oh,
hello?
Wait.
Oh, all right. No, somebody does not want me to reveal what's going on with this. I'm not sure what time I got cut off there. What was the last thing you guys heard?
Yeah. I think you were just looking through to see if there was anything else you wanted to talk about on the home screen.
I know. Did people hear? I mean, I talked about achievements where.
I remember messages tab.
Messages tab we talked about, so that you can actually track relevant things that happen to you. We are not planning to have chat in the near future. Chat is a dangerous beast. I'm glad we have, for those that are playing on PC, the Steam chat's a great place for people to be able to connect and have some community built around. That's fantastic, but in-game chat's a little bit away. But achievements are coming soon. Exactly where they live here. We've talked about having them in the profile screen with that profile button. We've talked about incorporating some of them into the daily quests. It'll kind of show you the next achievement you might want to be pushing for. So we're still working on exactly where that lives, but most of that infrastructure is already in place. So that will be coming in the relatively near future. Full screen and resizing of the client for different screens is a priority for us. That's a problem. There'll be different, we're working on different solutions that make that for the best ways to do that. Performance is one of my number one concerns. I know, making sure that things are smooth and run fast, especially we've seen on tablets and stuff where it can be a little slow. That's one of the reasons why, for example, we moved current games from a scroll to a page, and a variety of things that just kind of little tricks that we've learned maybe later than we needed to, but to get everything running faster and make it really, really smooth and accessible. So I think that's most of the stuff to talk through on this page.
Okay.
And again, people have feedback. I know I'm sure this is going to get posted in, whether it's in Reddit or our forums and various places here. We are happy to hear feedback and different ideas on this. It's nothing's in stone yet, as you can see. It's still pretty raw, but I'm pretty happy with the direction and where we're going with this. And then go ahead.
First impression, it's looking good, and second impression, it's still looking good.
It's not within the first 10 minutes. Still seems pretty good. All right.
Still seems pretty good.
I am super excited to have you guys have a news tab up there. That is
Yes.
the biggest thing for me.
And then news. So it's like it's such a fundamental thing that being able to communicate, whether it's new Weekend Warriors or upcoming downtime or even cool Forge Watch events, we can actually post stuff and really help unite the community together in a way that just wasn't very possible before. So that I'm very excited about. And then why don't we show them the store screen?
Okay. So just brief check-in with the CMU Brian game. Looks like Brian pulling ahead at least in life total. I've got that open also on another screen, so while we continue to talk about the store, I will try to make sure that I keep everybody updated as to what's going on with that game as well.
Yep.
So.
Sorry, I'll keep tabs on that for you.
Yeah, I'm kind of watching it too.
That's really big.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see some discussions more about chat and having some kind of restricted chat. There's a lot of different ways to sort of deal with this problem, and I do think at some point you will want something along those lines, maybe even full chat. But really, it's there's a lot of challenges that come with that, and it's just not at the top of our agenda. I think the Steam chat and some better tools for communicating with players and stuff is going to be the first phase. All right, so here's our store screen as we're building it up. Thing I'm most, again, you'll notice we still have the same kind of tab at the top, so you can easily get to everything you want to get to. And one of the things I'm most excited about this is filters. There are so many things that we have not been able to put on the store, or we have to rotate out, or whatever, that because it's just having to scroll through one list of everything is so painful and especially intimidating for new players. And so having something where we can have our featured sales on one tab, and then whatever you want to search for, this will let us keep more products, more variety of things available, and really help just make things a little easier to navigate. This is simple. There's nothing too crazy here, but just wanted to show off kind of how we're getting things improved. And somebody's pointing out the 420 tickets amount is that's, I'm going to blame that on our graphic designer. And yeah, I don't know if there's too much splashy things to say here. Just bigger, clear images for the cards and more room for descriptions and stuff like that. Just learn, trying to build stuff out that we want to get that we've all wanted for a while, and we'll show off. I was close to, but not currently able to show the updated deck builder. We have a whole bunch of new things we're doing with that to make it much more functional and usable, and all those cool features. We have updated and much more intuitive forging system, and even more cool things that I'm not going to spoil on this particular stream. But I wanted to show off where we're at, and again, people can give feedback here, give feedback on the Reddit threads or in our forums, and we're happy to kind of take that in as we build this out. And I'll show off some of the prettier versions of the screens once we get some views on that we're excited about.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you, man, for giving us this heads up view of where the UI direction is going. I think this is really cool, and it's going to be really great for the game.
Yeah, and again, our goal is to really try and do this methodically. It's why it's taken a long time, and but we want to get it right. I think we did an okay job on the first round of SoulForge UI, but that was very rushed from our perspective, and we've learned a lot from just listening to players and playing the game ourselves over the last year, and really seeing what's needed and what isn't. So. Again, more feedback is always welcome from the audience, and now we have the game's made some serious progress here.
Right.
So I have a question. Will when this client update when this UI update rolls out, will my client also say that I have 9,999,999 gold?
Well, depends on how much money you spend prior to the rollout.
All right, so you have a job, Radron. Try and optimize your gold buying to get exactly to that number.
But then he also has to do it with silver, and that's even harder.
Oh.
All right, so coming
there
back...
there goes my bank account.
Coming back into this, just as an update, David, in case you haven't seen it, it looks like Vangelisker, whoever won the starter deck there, was wanting the Necrium, the current Necrium faction deck. So I'm sure you're working on that because you're awesome, but just wanted to throw that out there vocally just in case you missed it.
All right, are you still here, Justin, or are you?
I am still here. I got a little bit more time, and I'm happy to chat about stuff. I also have I know you mentioned the deck with Surzal. Surzal's playtest name was "I'm Back." I know people tend to like that. So the other I'll throw out a playtest name. Somebody can guess the which card it is. I'll give another precon of choice, or David will give another precon of choice. I'll take credit.
Oh, that's interesting. Are we allowed to guess?
I think that's a little unfair, don't you think?
That does seem a little bit unfair. So I'll throw out the playtest name. Stop hitting yourself.
Oh, great card.
Ooh, I know which one that is.
So
I loved that card name.
If you're going to guess that in the chat correctly, we will give a precon of your choice too.
Wasn't that also the playtest name of a set 1 card? A spell?
I don't remember. I just know I have it as a set 3 card, but
a lot of people rolling on the Iron Maiden.
Oh, Iron Maiden. It is not Iron Maiden. No, that is a really good.
Yep,
it is a really good guess.
It's a good guess, but it's not.
Iron Maiden's playtest name was Consistent Krogius.
Mm-hmm.
We wanted some big giant consistent monster, and Krogius was our favorite monster prior to that. So the Iron Maiden answers are wrong.
It's got to be something
Race
else.
car. I think you've trained them too well, because somebody put Iron Maiden in, and now everyone's dropping in this chat like it's.
There's no advantage to being the second person to give an answer, so don't say it.
Uh-oh, they're switching over.
Dozer's also a pretty good guess.
Dozer's a good guess, also not correct.
Can we repeat the question, please? We have
the question is, what card from a recent release from set 3 is playtest name was Stop Hitting Yourself. You can name the card. You get a free precon of your choice. I still have not seen the correct answer. I already told you guys Surzal's playtest name was I'm Back.
Mm-hmm.
Dozer was a good answer, but not correct. Dozer was Hibernating Bear.
Mm-hmm. Which makes sense.
Yeah, that one was... I didn't give that one because it was a little too obvious.
Yep.
Yeah.
We got some for Thundersaur. Also pretty good, but not set 3. This is... We're talking about a set 3 card.
So for what it's worth, way back when you guys were spoiling the original set 1 cards back in the closed beta...
Oh, we got it!
Kibler had said that Dreadbolt had that playtest name.
Herald of Destruction was the correct answer. Sorry to interrupt.
Rosemary gets it then, right?
Yep.
But Kibler had said that Dreadbolt was also Stop Hitting Yourself.
Yeah, that's probably right. That sounds right now that you mention it.
Well done, Rosemary.
They're still posting Hammerfang.
That's another one. Probably people should be able to guess. We're not getting a prize for this one, but the Mulcher was a playtest name.
Mm.
Oh. Yeah, that one's pretty easy.
Should be reasonably obvious.
Mm-hmm. I did like Hammerfang's playtest name. I thought it was pretty funny, given the action.
That one... which one was that? Oh, yeah, it was... What did we actually call it? Was it just Hammer Time?
No, he was Bigfoot.
Oh,
yeah.
Because anytime you spot him, he always runs away, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Super clever.
Yeah, I really liked that one.
Somebody guessed correctly. Torg, my guardian, is Mulcher.
Yep.
Someone's Lily Eve 666 is asking in chat. What is the timeline for trading?
I am not answering that question right now. It is. It's
soon.
One of the top priorities. UI, and player to player card transfer stuff is our kind of the two of the things at the top of our list. But I'm not going to give a specific date. I will. I did promise to talk about a major new feature, and in my next article, I do, for those that don't know, I do monthly articles on SoulForgeGame.com where I try to answer community questions and talk about the future of SoulForge and really help to, one of the lessons we took away from really early this year and continuing is to try to keep as much open communication as possible. But I also have learned the lesson from now the last 2 years that giving away information too soon is almost always painful for everybody, because sometimes things don't end up working the way we think we're going to work, or we end up coming up with an idea that's better than what we had originally, or things just take longer than we think they're going to. And so I've learned not to make commitments that I'm not at least pretty darn confident that I can commit to. So that's I'm going to hold off now, but I promise more exciting reveals and information are coming in the not too distant future, and we know how important this stuff is for everybody, especially for our current player base, and we are working on player card transfers as well as and that's it's something you really have to get right. If that gets screwed up, then our customer service blows up and everybody freaks out, and I don't want to do that to our wonderful customer service team. They had enough trouble after the set 3 release, and we had tournaments go down and every other thing. I watched we had like a 8-fold increase in our usual customer service load, and so we're gonna make sure we get this one right before we roll it out.
I see a comment about structures. Are they still a dream in the future, or?
I think I mentioned this last time I was on stream, but I love the thing that structures do for the game that I love is they allow. So for those that aren't familiar, structures were something we demoed in the very first iteration of SoulForge during the Kickstarter. They would go into a lane behind your creature, or just in the lane if there was no creature there. And they would, have an effect, whether it was just on that lane or potentially in the game as a whole. And the thing I liked about them is that they were much more durable than creatures, right? The creatures don't tend to last very long in SoulForge, and so having game-altering effects, they don't really get that. You can't really build around them as much for more than 2 turns. The downside is, and the reason why we haven't implemented structures for so long, is that it increases game complexity enormously. First of all, getting the UI to display everything correctly and make it easy to understand what's happening is one challenge. And 2, it's just doubling the number of potential permanents that are on the board. So instead of having, look, you see the board in the game right now, there's 8 different things going on, and figuring out what to do with that, plus cards in your hand, is a lot. Imagine, 20 things on the board. And I've come around to the position that, SoulForge has plenty of depth and complexity going on right now without adding another 10 permanents to the board. And so what I've been experimenting with is trying to find ways to get the advantages of structures, which is the kind of more permanent ongoing effects that will, modify the game state and really give you different strategies to play to without having 10 more things show up. So I've been focusing a lot on this in playtesting and different things for future sets, as well as different mechanics we're exploring, particularly in set 5 and some other ways. But right now, my position is that structures, as they were in the demo back when we were doing the Kickstarter, are not a good idea. But I want to get the cool parts of structures, and I'm very focused on making that happen. So hopefully that was a long answer, but that kind of gave you some insight into kind of where we're thinking. I see PTK Tempo saying game complexity is a good thing, and that is a complex answer too. Also, there's strategic depth is valuable. But the complexity of just understanding what's happening and being able to see and know what's going on is not a good kind of complexity. You want to be able to know what's going on pretty easily, and then have a lot of strategic depth in the choices that you can make from there. And so that's the main goal of SoulForge, right? The classic easy to learn, difficult to master. Right? I mean, the baseline of SoulForge is so simple in that it's just, all right, just play 2 cards. In any of the 5 lanes, you battle. You can, I've seen 5-year-olds play the game successfully. But as you add more and more cards and more complex effects and more things happening on the board, it becomes harder and harder for people to be able to jump into the game and know what's happening and be able to play. And it's really important we don't lose that, right? Just because especially for people that have been playing the game since the beginning, and you know all the cards super well, and so every extra layer of complexity is just like one new thing to learn. But imagine you got to put yourself in the space of people that are just picking up the game now, how much they have to take in and how hard that is to do, and we have to stay focused on that too. So I don't think we've lacked in strategic depth and complexity and how complicated the game is to play well, but we don't want the game to be complicated to play and be aware of what's happening. Anyway.
Sorry, I have to comment on this game. CMU Stuart making a very aggressive play, leaving the 1717 Nether Drake open to attack him.
Yeah.
Wow,
I'm actually kind of shocked.
That is, yeah.
The question is, does Brian have the shock to shock him?
That's the thing. I mean, like, that's all it would have taken was just one static shock, and it would have been game there. Now, granted, that's kind of the case regardless, because no matter how Stuart would have blocked it, like, Nether Drake just moves over and goes and attacks for free anyway.
No, the Doom Riders move.
Yeah. That's true, yeah. Would have blocked out the lane.
This way he's forcing that Doom Rider to die.
Mm-hmm.
I'll jump on the one more comment just to follow up on, I see PTK Tempo again talking about, well, doesn't Ascension put a lot of constructs on the board? And, Ascension, actually, the main reason I think Ascension was successful as a design is I took a lot of the things that existed in other deck building games, specifically Dominion, which was the only deck building game at the time, and they had like 20 piles of cards on the board at one time with all the different things in the center and all the different other stuff, and I reduced it down to just the 6 cards in the center row and 2, or a couple of always availables, and having a fewer number of content of items available there was a huge part of, I think, what made it successful. Sorry, just a random. This game is really exciting.
Yeah, it's a clincher. I mean,
yeah.
There's the static shock.
That's
and
not quite game.
That definitely turned into game very quickly. Let's see what got played.
I've still got my eye out for it. Static Shock 3.
Ooh.
Yep.
Wow.
So
Gotcha.
game 1 to Brian.
Game 1 to Brian.
I saw a question in the chat about the release schedule, and that we only had a 3.1, and there will not be 3.2 or 3.3 if that's going to continue. That's something you guys help us determine. We got feedback from set 2 with Rise of the Forgeborn that there was too many small releases and too many cards to keep up with. And so we scaled back substantially in the number of cards that are out there. I believe a regular stream of new cards is a critical thing to a successful, trading card game of any kind, and digital is no exclusion. But we're very sympathetic to, how hard it is to keep up with the collection and trying to keep things so that they're manageable. I think I generally like the way this one rolled out. People, the reason we did 3.1 the way we did was because in 2.3 release we did the pre-cons, and everybody seemed to really like those. So the cards, if you just wanted to get the new cards, they were pretty easy to access. But if you, you wanted that, there were not too many extra cards getting added to the packs. I'm curious what you guys think about that release schedule.
Personally, I really do like the fact that all new cards are available in pre-cons. Or I should say the new legendaries are available in pre-cons. It definitely makes it convenient for me when there's a specific deck that I want to play.
Yeah. Just knowing that you can get the specific cards that you want by getting the precons is pretty good to me. Yeah.
Yeah. And you've got and SBE's always been pretty good about getting new content out on a fairly regular basis. That 4 to 6 week area. 6 to 8 week, whatever it is, and that seems like about the right level. It gives just enough time for the format to kind of settle in before getting shaken up a bit. So I've been happy.
Yeah, were you going to say something, Kit?
Oh, I was going to say that I think that I've been really happy, especially with how 2.3 got rolled out with the addition of the pre-constructed decks. I think that was a great step towards what I've been hearing the community want personally. I think that the last thing, not to put on a spot at all, but the only other piece of feedback that I've heard routinely is like getting a week gap between when things become craftable and when the next things come out. I don't know if that's feasible, but that's just something that I've heard a lot about from.
At least having some window where everything in the game is craftable is something we've heard a lot, or forgeable as our terminology goes. But a lot of people have talked about that. Obviously, whatever, we're trying to balance that. But I think that's a request, and we'll work on that as well. I saw a question asked about if there's a change with the friends list. Yes, we are going to make the list we know that's a failing we have. We're going to remove the recently played from that. Make it a little bit more obvious when somebody's in your friends list and you do a search. I think we know that's important. And we should have a new feature. Actually, I'm pretty sure we have a new feature we're actually going to be able to roll out and spoil next week. I think I'm going to let Kibler do that because I want to be able to get all the fun. But 100% confirmed. But I think that's something that's going to be coming very soon, which will be pretty cool. And that's just lots of little things. We've been working on updating the website and getting some new features up there. We're doing a lot of different little things that are not like as splashy as people talking about trading, people talking about obviously the UIs and different campaign and all those things. But there's a lot of little things going on in the background too, which are going to be nice improvements for the community and tools for people to have.
I like that. That's good.
Yeah.
These are good things. These are very good things. But McKellian gets back to the real crux of the issue. Bees?
Let's focus on what matters here.
Right. And everything comes full circle.
Wasting their time on anything other than bees is not optimizing. I got it.
It's so wonderful to see the community band together on at least one thing.
One thing we can all agree on. I'll bring up one of the sort of controversial topics at risk of starting a war here. I constantly wrestle with the timer. It's something that we see a lot of people complain about. It's something we see some people, vehemently defend. That the sort of chess clock version where it's just you have currently where you just have 20 minutes to play your turns versus a turn timer versus something in between. It's been a tough one, especially when you're streaming and have things going on. And you only have a few minutes to play your games. You really want your opponent to play fast, and the current system kind of can leave you stuck for a while if they disappear for 10 minutes. But on the other hand, for people playing on mobile or people who have a bunch of other stuff going on and maybe have to spend minutes, this current system allows them to play, but others don't. So that's something that we haven't put on the early agenda to change because it's so controversial and we're not really sure what the right answer is. But it is something we do constantly look for feedback on and different ways to kind of get that to work right. We know we can all unify around bees, but...
Some issues I don't think you can ever get everyone to agree on.
Oh, I don't expect that. Obviously, any time you make a change like that, some people are going to be hurt by it. But I try to take in a lot of feedback and maybe have clever ideas for how we can get the best of both worlds as much as possible. Right now I lean towards the possibility of doing like a turn timer with like a reserve, like a say 2 minutes per turn with like a 5-minute kind of bank that you can spend if you really need to think for a turn or you need to go away for a minute. That's kind of my favorite idea so far, but that's not there's ups and downs to that as well.
Yep. But that's actually a really interesting having a reserve pool. I hadn't thought of that one yet.
So
that's kind of cool.
I have to do my obligatory question that I think I ask every single time you come on a stream and talk with us. But first, I will preface it by saying thank you guys for introducing more lore with some of these like Killian stories that have been coming out. lately. I think that's super cool. But when do we get more, man? When do we get more?
Yeah, I understand, and it's something we're only trickling out there right now, we had. So there's a couple of things that are in the works that will help with the lore problem. Unfortunately, they're all going to take a while to really come to life. It's just a reality. We've been working on specking out the art book. We promised the SolForge art book in the Kickstarter. It is long delayed, but it'll have a bunch of lore elements in it, and so we'll have that as a thing. Again, certainly not until next year, but it's something that we're working on. And then, it's great. One of the upsides of that taking as long as it has is that we have so much more art to draw from and so many more great things to draw from. Cool. Obviously, once we do more the campaign, and we're going to have sort of lore elements that will be incorporated into that. We will continue to do lore fragments on the website and components that help bring in more of that story. Cool. But we're planning to redo the UI for the large card view. Which will finally give us the ability to have some flavor text with the cards. It'll be another great mechanism for communicating lore and items in game. This stuff's all, again, it's all going to take a while. Right. I don't want to get anybody's hopes up here, but we know it's important. The key is being able to communicate it in game in a way that's meaningful and compelling. I think that's just much more valuable than putting a lot of lore and cool story. Like, we have so many good story ideas, and Eric Tice is our lore guardian, and he's got so many great ideas, and we have so many stuff that we've been working on since the beginning. But a lot of it we've constantly had to slow roll and delay because it's so much more impactful when it's coming in the game than just on the website. Right. So we'll have lore around specific characters on the website still, some specific events tied to releases. But I really feel like the promise of the lore of SolForge and the promise of good storytelling comes from in-client and from, seeing it on the cards and seeing it in events and things that are going on. But we're working on it.
All right. Well, I guess we'll just have to hold out with all of the stuff.
Yeah, I know you can keep asking me every time I'm on.
every time, man.
I'll where we're at, but it's going to take some time. Again, we prioritize, the core game functionality, things to keep our current players happy, and things to get new players into the game and keep the player base growing. Obviously, that's critical. And then, the lore stuff, unfortunately, is taking a backseat to that. But campaign and the single player experience is a huge priority, and getting the UI update is a huge priority. And those things are the prerequisites for really doing lore right.
Cool.
So there's a lot of chatter going on in the Twitch chat right now about adding another faction.
Interesting.
That's quite the response there. Interesting.
Now, and I've heard this discussion before, where most often the problem with adding another faction into a card game, like Magic's talked about it a lot, but it's probably never really going to happen, because trying to support a whole new subset of cards, where now you don't have very many of this fifth faction within a huge pool of cards that you already have, that disparity makes it very difficult to either balance or even playable, and gets bad feelings all around.
It is a huge task to get to add another faction into a game, especially when you've doled out the mechanics in certain ways. You have to create an identity for the new faction. You have to say, what does it do that other ones don't? If you have built things into the currently existing factions and you want to reshift the color pie and the ability pie, it's an enormous amount of effort to do something like that. Yeah. And so it's not easy, and it's a big task if you want to do that. We've talked about it in Ascension for a long time, adding a fifth faction, and we sort of decided it really wasn't the right call. And there's a lot of, there's always, it's something that's, I think we're in a similar boat to where Magic is, where it's something we, of course we talk about it, and it's something that's a kind of a running gag around the office every time we have some new mechanic that we're not sure where it goes and which faction should get it. They're like, we'll go in the 5th faction. But it's not not something that you should be counting on anytime soon. But it's something we certainly have talked about, and I'm sure we'll continue to talk about.
Yeah. But what about factionless cards?
Factionless cards are an interesting space. They're really there's a nicety in saying, this is a card that anyone can play with, but on the flip side, it has to be in general worse than any card that's in a faction, right? If it's something that's better than, if it raises the floor on what a faction is able to do, then it reduces the value of having a color pie and having certain factions be strong at one thing and weak at another thing. So, factionless cards is the kind of stuff we do. We've talked about doing for fun. The kind of Momir Vig type effect of being able to have a card that puts a random creature into a lane or plays a random spell is the type of thing we might make factionless, because it's anything and it's totally sort of for fun. I think the gameplay value of having normal constructed level type factionless cards is, I don't think it's that exciting, to be honest. I think it's much more exciting to have things like we did with the allied cards and things where it's like actually more restrictive to get their maximum power, and it lets you do things that neither faction could kind of do alone, but together. I mean, Discian Brood Queen, maybe we overshot a little bit, but the idea of like taking the Scourge Flame ability of sacking a guy to kill something and then adding a token generation to it is like, hey, this obviously goes well together, and neither faction could have done the other ability by itself, but when you unite them, you get this cool functionality. So those are kind of the types of effects I find more interesting from a game designer developer standpoint than factionless cards. That's just kind of, I'm not saying it won't happen, but just sort of giving you my philosophy on it.
Yeah, no, it's interesting.
All right, so I've got one question. We're probably nearing the end here, but when you look back at all the cards that you've released in 2014, what are you most pleased with as far as execution, something that really came together nicely and that you and the team feels particularly proud of?
Interesting. There's a lot.
That's a sweet question.
Yeah, that's a lot of that's a really interesting stuff. I mean, I really like. My favorite thing by far is the Forgeborn. I think they are super cool. They are, I think we hit a really good sweet spot for power level on, almost all of them are seeing play with some regularity, and it's my opinion that the ones that aren't seeing play will once the format shifts a little bit. I think, Killian is super fun. I love leveling things up and having that kind of functionality there. I think those are my favorite thing that we've been able to do, especially also tying into, your lore question. These guys have more personality. They have more story behind them. They really help bring the game to life in a way that they weren't last year. The game, and I think, you should expect to see more of that and some cool twists on it. But I think those by far are my favorite. And I think my favorite amongst them is tough. Killian may be my favorite Forgeborn so far, but that's tough. It's choosing between all my children here, but that's the thing I'm most proud of right now, and I'm pretty excited about some of the things that are coming up. But that'll be my answer.
Great, thank you.
All right, I think I'm running out of time here, but this has been awesome, and I'm looking forward to seeing the finals here and coming back on and chatting some more, and actually maybe even getting in some games on with live servers. That'll be fun.
That would be great. Yeah. Thank you so much, Justin, for coming by. We really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to come and chat with us.
It's great being here. I love what you guys do and how much the community rallies around these events. It's great to watch and great to be a part of. So thank you guys.
Thank you.
Have a good one, sir.
It's fantastic.
Bye.